everybody, it's Catherine from In the Pink Designs. My project today is another square box. This one measures 3.5 by 3.5 by 1.25, and inside this one I have some little treats. Some of the sealing wax and a little flower stamp for the wax. You can use a tea light and a little cup. It's like a little long cup that I have that you put over, and then you pour it on your letter, or you can pour it also on something silicone if you want to just use it later on. And on the hot wax, you would just press it. This is a relatively small one. They're usually like probably a little bit, not quite a quarter, a little less than a quarter. But I love doing this, and I got myself some pink wax and a flower stamp, and that fits in there perfectly. All right, so I'm using Crafting With You bundle, which is the stamp set and the dies. I used the Stylish Shapes dies for this circle here, and I used the mini pocket envelope dies for this oval. But whatever oval and circles you have, you don't have to use the same exact things that I do, because I know everyone doesn't have everything. All right, we need some basic white for stamping. We need a piece of bubble bath cardstock that is 10 by 6 3/4. We need a little piece of basic black to stamp. I embossed that with white embossing powder. Okay, I cut this piece. This is one die from the Crafting With You dies that comes out, both of them basic white. This bubble bath circle from the Stylish Shapes dies is 2.5 inches. This one, if you just want to use a circle, this one is 1 7/8. Okay. Then I'm using the Delightfully Eclectic Designer Series paper. We need 2 pieces that are 3.25 by 3.25, and 4 pieces that are 1 by 3.25. Okay. Alrighty. So let me just get my Simply Scored. Before I do that, on July 19th, which is tomorrow when this video goes up, there is 15% off stamps from the annual catalog. All right, so if you're looking at anything, please take a look and see if you want it, and put my host code in for any purchases under $150, and I will send you a little something for doing that for me. All right, so we're going to start on the 10-inch side. Okay, and we're going to score at 1/2, 4, 5 1/4, and 8 3/4. Then we're going to turn it to the 6 3/4 inch side, and we're going to score at 1 1/4, 4 3/4, and 6. All right. And now I'm going to fold and burnish all of the score lines. Okay. So how I have this is the skinniest rectangle is on the left. There are 1 1/4 strips on the bottom and the right, and then a 3/4 inch strip at the top. And this is what we're going to be doing. So let's start over on the left. We are going to go to the first score line, cut it to the first score line, and then wedge up into that skinny rectangle a little bit. Okay, then we're going to go to the next score line, cut it to the first score line, next score line, cut it to the first score line, and wedge each side of the square. Go to the next score line, cut it to the first score line, and wedge each side of the square. Okay, now we're going to turn it so that the skinny rectangle is on the right, and we're going to go to the first score line, cut it to the second score line, get rid of this rectangle that's on the bottom and wedge each side of the square. Okay, then we're going to go to the next score line, cut it to the second score line, next score line, cut it to the second score line, and we're going to get rid of this rectangle on the bottom and wedge both sides of the square that's left. Okay, now we're going to get rid of these 4 pieces here. All right, so I'm just going to go to the side and cut it over to that tab we just created. All right, and then the final thing on this part is wedge up into that skinny rectangle at the end. Okay, now the skinniest rectangle is on the left here, and what we're going to do is round the corners of this top piece here, which is our flap. Okay, and this is what your cardstock should look like after you're done scoring, cutting, and rounding those corners. All right, what I'm going to do is put some tear and tape on what's left of that skinny rectangle next to the score line. And I'm going to take your pick tool to get the backing off, roll back any piece that goes over the edge. Okay, flip it over so that this is the inside of the box. Flip over the side with the tape and the other side to meet it. Okay, so now this is the back of our box. So put in your side tabs, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue there and pull in the back, and then I'm going to put some glue on this front flap and close that down, and I'm just going to keep the sides straight as it dries. Okay, flip it over and then just make sure you push down those tabs better. Okay, and that is our box so far. All right, so now we need our DSP. We need 2 pieces that are 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 for the front and the back, and 4 pieces that are 1 by 3 1/4 for all the sides, and I'm going to be putting them on with liquid glue. Okay, now we're going to open up the box and we're going to get a small circle punch. I'm just going to cut a sliver of a circle out. You don't want to make it more than 3/4 because then it'll go, I'll show you, wait. If we made this really low here, it would look like that. And you'd have a little opening. So make sure you don't go below probably a 1/2 inch at least, and then you'll have, because I make mine 3/4 inch most of the time, so that when I close it, you don't see any gaps. All right, so we'll let that dry for a minute while we do some stamping. Okay, so we need a piece of basic white and bubble bath ink, and I'm going to use the little flowers bouquet there. I'm just going to stamp that. Okay, and I'm going to cut that out. There's the dies with this die here. Okay, all right, now for the black little piece of basic black cardstock, this is how, let me just show you something here. Okay, I wanted to do this with the white pigment ink, but it doesn't come up if you see the difference between the embossing and the stamp pad. Now this comes with blank, it doesn't have any ink on it, and then it comes with a little bottle that you put on. I don't know if I'm not doing it right. I mean, I put a lot on there and I tried to spread it around, but it's still pretty light, so I don't know if it's just on black. If anyone has a tip for me, I'd love to hear that. All right, so now we're going to do it with Versamark ink. And I'm going to use from the same stamp set. It says with love. And I'm just going to stamp that on. And I'm going to get a piece of scrap. And I'm going to get my white Stampin' Emboss powder. I'm just going to sprinkle it on there. And then tap it off. And if there's any extra, I just kind of rub it off with my finger. I do have a brush around here somewhere that I use, but I don't know where it is. Okay, and then I'm going to hit that with the heat gun. And also, I'm going to cut this out. Now, any oval, small oval die you have, but this is my mini pocket envelope dies, and I'm using this oval right there. Or you could just cut it by hand into whatever shape you want. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, there's my little die cuts. So now we need our box. Well, we can leave that for a minute. We're going to start with our circle. This is Bubble Bath 2.5-inch circle I cut with the Stylish Shapes dies. And then this is from the Crafting With You dies. It's one piece, one die. You just put it down and it cuts out these two pieces. But I'm just going to put them together. So I'm going to take some glue. I'm just going to put it a little bit around the circle. Not too much. I don't want it to squirt out, but I'm just squeezing it a little and then going around. Okay. Oops. And then I'm just going to place this right on there. All right, then I'm going to get some dimensionals and I'm going to put them on the back of my flowers. You could use edges here too. It's pretty small areas. And then I'm just gonna, I'm gonna put it right in the middle of this. Great. And then I'm gonna glue this down in the middle of the hoop. I do like embroidery. Oops, I put it on the wrong way. My mom started me. I can remember doing a little elephant when I was in 2nd grade. It wasn't very, very good, but I started, right? Okay. Then we're going to put more dimensionals on the back. And we're going to put this right in the middle of the box. Okay. And then I'm going to put some dimensionals over here. Well, actually, I'm just going to put one right there. And I'll put a tiny little bit of glue over here. And I'm going to put this down towards the edge. Just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to get some of our black and white gingham ribbon. I'm going to tie a bow. All right, and then I'm just going to snip them off. Just like that for now. And I'm going to decide which side I want. This side will be out. Okay, I'm going to roll up a glue dot. Sometimes I can't do the glue dot because if the bow is really small, it's not going to work. I put a glue dot on the knot and then a little teeny bit of glue on either side, just so that it will kind of grip on if the glue dot doesn't want to when it gets hot. All right, and I'm going to put it right down there underneath the little twisty thing on the hoop. Okay, and then I'm going to shorten up these sides. flower. Okay. And then for the final touch, I'm going to get some of our classic matte dots, and we're concentrating on the black. And I'm going to put a large one in that large flower, and then a small one in that flower, and a small one right there. And that's it. If you have any questions, my email is below, along with the link to my blog that has all of the directions and the measurements written out. Okay, remember that tomorrow on the 19th, some of the stamps from the annual catalog are 15% off. You'll be able to tell, it'll say sale, little lower price there. And please use this host code for any purchases under $150. And please subscribe and hit the like button. And I will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.